All right. Good evening, Zoomland. You guys can still hear me, right? Looks like. So thank you. I'll call the meeting to order. We've got the Wyndham Park neighborhood meeting for January 2024. There's a nice crowd here of committed neighborhood people attending in a very cold night, of course. And then thanks to everybody tuning in from Zoomland out there. So I'm Robert Lodge. I'm the chair of Wyndham Park Citizens in Action. This is the local neighborhood organization for the community of Wyndham Park. And we've got a great community here. We have one of the best, I think, in the city. So proud to live in Northeast and see everybody come out and participate on our call today. So I've been chair for 4 years, and today is actually going to be my last meeting. I've been, yeah, yeah. So it's been a great honor to work with Councilor Payne and the community and our great volunteers on the board. And so we have a couple of seats open. So for anybody that's really interested in joining the board, we've got some fresh energy that we want to have come in and some fresh ideas. So for anybody that's interested in helping improve Wyndham Park and Northeast in general, this is a great opportunity to get in and think about what can come next. So typically I MC the entire meeting, but I'm going to be turning it over to our vice chair, Tara Schmoll. So here you go, Tara.
So we would all be very remiss if we didn't recognize how much Robert has contributed to is it on? We would be remiss to not mention how much Robert has contributed to the neighborhood. He sort of moved everything along at a clip that hadn't been touched in maybe 15 years, 20, 50, I don't know, a lot of years. So we're really lucky that, you were here for 4 years doing this. It's a lot of work. You took on a lot of stuff and amazing. So thank you for real. Thank you. I can't say enough, but I'm going to stop because we have other things. And seriously, take it seriously. If you guys want to make some changes, make a difference, especially you renters. Hey, we don't really have any renters here. So we need some renters too to represent for the neighborhood. So as you heard from Robert, we are Wyndham Park, and we have done some things through goals. We put out a survey, and our community members elected that we'd like to eliminate disparities, that we are safe and connected, have complete neighborhoods, and a healthy environment. And that will be seen, and I'm pointing to something that you guys can't see quite yet. The anticipation. All right, when you guys can see the magic, give me a thumbs up. Hey, yep, I got thumbs up. Hey, thank you. So as you see, these are our goals. Ever. Robert can never leave. So we can go to the next slide. And don't let the name Wyndham Park Citizens. You can't hear me? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now? Little bit? Okay. I'm going to be yelling, I guess. So as you can see, we have an agenda. We're not going to be here all night. We're mindful of your time. We have some very important guests. We have the council member, now chairman, president, Emperor Payne. He's going to be up first talking about some updates and maybe the fact that he's president now. I don't know. Then we have Michael Dahl here from Homeline, who's got a ton of updates. Holy moly, the legislature was busy. So he's going to go over some of those, and maybe he can even take some questions if we have them. And then we've got the Metro F line, and Nasser will be here, hopefully, and give us an update on what's going on with the Metro F line. All right. And then at the end of this, we'll have some time to maybe ask questions or give some thoughts on things. I know everybody's got opinions and we're looking to hear yours. All right. So as you guys might remember, if you've gone by the, what is it called? The park building, shack, I don't know, warming house. I've heard it called many things, but there's a wonderful mural that goes all the way around the entirety of the thing. And it was finished right before the weather turned too cold to do more. So it was perfect timing. We had a little celebration and opening, but by all means, go out and enjoy it. We're hoping that this like spurs more art in the community because it's fun to have more art. And that's a great looking fox, I must say. We can go to the next slide, please. We have a bunch of programs. I think we go over the programs every time. They're available on the website. The most popular ones for homeowners are the security rebates, and those are everything from you can get a Ring doorbell, you can get some new lights that maybe are on timers or a motion sensor, anything that upgrades the security. If you can make a case for it, hey, send us the receipt and hopefully we can get you reimbursed. Then Home Energy Squad. I think we're one of the only neighborhoods that offer free Home Energy Squad audits. Everybody else has to pay for them. So take advantage of it while we still have the money to do it. That is for, I believe, anyone. Yeah, renters, owners, if you live in a place that can be audited for energy. They also bring out things like, I think, the low, what are they called? Shower heads that are low flow. Thank you. Then we have some loans. If you're a business owner or know someone who's a business owner in our area or along the actual central corridor, the boundaries are not specific only to Wyndham Park. We can actually do a little bit further outside of it if you have a commercial space and you need to update like the entranceway to make it prettier. That's one of the things that we have loans for. We have a lot of money in loans that we're just sitting on. So apply for that. And if you don't have a business, okay, you have a home, well, you can apply for a loan. Let's say you wanted to get that concrete that's got a little dip in it. You needed to get your concrete fixed. We can help you with that. Cheap loans, because the interest rates, as you know, are kind of high. And these ones are what? Between like 2 to 5%, or is it 0 to 2? Oh my goodness. Fire sale. 0 to 2%. Like, I don't know. It's free money, basically. So yeah, these are some of our programs. There's plenty to read on the Wyndham Park website. And we can go to the next slide. Wow. Okay. President Payne. Here we are. Welcome.
Thank you, Tara. Thanks, everyone. I want to definitely give another shout out to Robert. Like, if you can hear me, I want to give another shout out to Robert. I think it's extremely important to recognize just the level of personal energy and organizing it takes to do this and the accessibility that you have to making a difference in the city. You don't actually have to run for city council to make a real difference in the community. I also want to give a special shout out to Dan Miller, who is another one of our like really important community members who's been a public servant for many years. He just rolled off of the Bicycle Advisory Committee and has been a really important force in shaping a lot of our bike infrastructure in Northeast and across the city. Also a former member of our Capital Long Range Improvement Planning and Infrastructure Planning Committee, CLIC, which is how the city actually decides to make the investments that it makes in the infrastructure in the city. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can show up for the community. It's not just, you know, going through all the trouble of running for elected office. It's happening in rooms of this size every month, every week in the city. And it's because of all of you showing up and serving in this way. But as far as my formal update for city council, we just started a new term. We just actually had our first committee meetings of the term today. And the very first item of business was to elect a new leader of the council. And so I ran for president, and my colleagues selected me to be the president of city council. So, woo. What that means is that not only do I need to represent your voice at City Hall as constituents in Ward 1, I also have the responsibility and the honor, frankly, of representing the voice of the body. No one council member has power in our system. We only have power as a body of council members. And so I am taking this role very seriously in that I need to not only be that voice for you all, I also need to make sure that we are running a really well-functioning government and having a really well-functioning body of city council. And that's especially important because we did just recently pass a government structure amendment that's now shifted the balance of power to have much more power in the mayor's office. But that doesn't mean we lost all of our power in city council. I think part of it is we have to be very intentional about how we use that power and make sure that we're using that power to the benefit of the community. And I think one of the really important things about city council is it's not going to be very frequently that the mayor of the city is going to show up in the community room at Parker Skyview. Your council member can. So that's what's really important about city council to me and why I'm taking this role so seriously. We're just getting into the business of the council. One of the kind of bigger changes we did, but it might just be semantics if you think about it, but it actually could be more impactful depending on how we approach it, is we actually restructured our committees. And so, for instance, we used to have a public works and infrastructure committee. We are now having a climate and infrastructure committee. We're going to still do the work of public works, but it's putting this bigger picture lens around it because it's one of those challenges that we're facing that's going to be really critical as we look into the future. And so we have some significant money that's getting invested in climate action, including $10 million in making weatherization improvements, direct investments in the home. So just like the neighborhood association has resources available to you as a homeowner or a renter, we're trying to expand those resources throughout the city so that we can start retrofitting homes so that you can have more energy efficient homes. So that's like one big thing that we're trying to take on. A major milestone that's like we're this close to hitting is we are in the final stages of interviewing the independent monitor for the Minnesota Department of Human Rights Settlement Agreement and for the Department of Justice Consent Decree. So this is going to be expert consultants that are going to have basically the independence and the enforcement of the courts behind them as the police department has to implement all of the reforms that were included in both the state and federal consent decrees. And so that's going to be really critically important because the consent decree is just words on a page until we start implementing it. And we need to have somebody that has independence and some enforcement when it comes to the implementation of those words. And so we're very close to making the final selection on that. I was able to participate in some of the community listening sessions where the 3 finalists that had applied to be that independent monitor were able to present to the community and answer questions. And it was a pretty important event. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm just really excited about all the opportunity that's in front of us. The city's been facing tremendous challenges over the last few years since I've been elected. But in that universe of challenges, there's a lot of opportunity. And I think the way that we are approaching local government, the way we're being intentional about how we're structuring our council, how we're approaching the independent audit function, which is a very wonky and nerdy thing, but it's kind of almost similar to the independent monitor for the police department. We need to have somebody who's got eyes on making sure that when we say we're going to do something that we're actually delivering on that, and we're not wasting your money and we're not leaving people behind and delivering services in an inequitable way. So those are going to be the things that I'm doubling down on as president, and then also doubling down on being here for the community and my capacity as your representative. Any questions, complaints, concerns? If you have any questions on Zoom, we can hear you if you wanted to chime in or put them in the chat. Thank you, Robert, for your service. Our neighborhood and its organization have made remarkable changes during your time. I wish you the best in whatever it is you have planned next. And hopefully we can run into each other and catch up. From Dan Miller. And we just received $20 million grant for Vision Zero safety. That's actually a really, really big deal. Vision Zero, for anybody who doesn't know, is our goal to get to zero traffic deaths. And part of the way that we want to do that is through a better designed environment, better designed road infrastructure, better bike infrastructure, better education. University and Lowry is one of the #1 intersections on our Vision Zero plan that needs to be addressed. It's a very deadly intersection. It's very dangerous. It's very scary. So we got a $20 million grant from the federal government just for that body of work. I don't have a specific timeline, but it is coming up very soon, 18th and Johnson. Yeah, the question is update on 18th and Johnson for the intersection redesign. And I bet Dan could help me with a specific timeline if he's listening. I can't remember if that's going to be this coming construction year or the next one, but it's coming very soon. It says ask to unmute. 2024, unless it gets rescheduled. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, President Payne. That's kind of fun to say. Up next, we have a great guest next. Michael Dahl is here from Homeline. He's got your updates and maybe some answers to questions that you might have about if you're a renter, who pays when things go bad? I don't know. Thank you.
Are there any renters here right now? Raise hands. Okay, we got a good batch. My name is Michael Dahl. I'm the public policy director at Homeline. And for those of you who don't know, Homeline does a number of things on tenant rights and education. First thing we do is we have a hotline, and if you scroll down just a bit on up towards the top of the page, if you have a legal question about if you have a legal question that you want to ask an attorney for free legal confidential advice, you can call our hotline, and the number is 612-628-5767. And I can hand out some more sheets of paper if folks don't have them, but you can get, again, a lawyer will give you free confidential legal advice to an issue that you are facing. Nope, it's up to the top of the page. Right there, 612-728-5767. We last year advised over 20,000 tenants across the state. It was the busiest year ever for Homeline because renters are having a hard time right now with a number of issues. And so what we do is, in addition to providing that legal advice for individuals, sometimes there are issues that come up on a building-wide level. Like someone might call and say, oh, I don't have heat. And then you find out that everybody in the apartment complex doesn't have heat. An organizer would then come out and help organize a building to try to get the heat turned back on by working with the landlord and calling attention to the issue if that's necessary. And then what I do is I'm a public policy advocate. I worked at the Capitol and I try to get laws changed so that we can provide further protections to renters. And I wanted to go through some of the laws. The first half, the lead page in this handout that I gave to a number of you The first is, we said that we got a law passed that said that if you're have an eviction that your landlord wants to file against you, they first have to give you, for non-payment of rent, they have to give you a 14-day notice so that there can be some time to actually work through the problem that you're having, perhaps come up with a payment plan, get some help, apply for assistance, something that will tell the landlord, you know, I'd really like not to be evicted. I want to stay in this apartment. And then you can have that 2-week breathing room to try to resolve the situation. If you can't, and moving is your only option, I will tell you that it is really difficult if you're a renter and an eviction action is put on your record when the landlord goes to court. It makes things really difficult. So if you can do all that you can not to get to eviction court, that would be the best possible situation for a renter who can't afford their rent. The second thing is that if something is on your record that you didn't do, you got an eviction for some reason, or something's appeared on your rental history, you can now have it expunged or erased. Erased isn't the right word. The courts still hold on to it, but no member of the public will be able to see that if it's older than 3 years. So again, if you have troubled rental history, it is very difficult to find a place for years afterwards. So the fact that we got this expungement into the books is really important. Next thing, if you're renting, there are, first of all, I want to say there are good landlords. There are landlords that are learning their job. There are some bad landlords out there too. We hear about them. Just like the renters can span the what they know about their rights and responsibilities. I'm not calling out landlords. I just want to say that there's laws in place right now that say that if landlords lure you in with a cheap rent, it looks like it's a cheap rent. And then when you go to sign the lease, you find out that there's a whole bunch of mandatory fees that you have to pay. What they've passed at the legislature and the work that I did and others at the Capitol says that they actually have to advertise what those additional fees are in the advertisement, or they have to disclose it on the first page of the lease that you sign. And so there are some fees like administrative fees, move-in fees, move-out fees, carpet cleaning fees, January fees. We've had a lot of different fees that landlords have tried to put on their increased costs for not paying the monthly rent, but paying to get into the apartment for the first place. The next thing is something that Minneapolis already benefits from, which is a 68-degree minimum temperature if you don't control the thermostat. And now it's a statewide law that we have that we passed. Privacy. We have heard a number of scary stories where there's a landlord that comes into someone's apartment while they're asleep, while they're getting out of the shower. Well, a number of different things that just aren't appropriate. And so now there has to be a 24-hour notice, and the landlord has to provide a window of time that they're actually going to enter your apartment, so that you know when you should have everything in a state that you feel comfortable with your landlord coming in. Actually, a legislator once said that they had all of their financial information set out from when they were being a renter to where they were going to move to their own place that they would own. And in one of the showings, they brought in a prospective tenant, and there were all of the financial information of this one legislator. And so you can see why having privacy is an important thing. And now there's a way to make sure that what had previously been just called reasonable notice now says it has to be at least 24 hours, unless you and your landlord agree to a different setup. We expanded the list of emergency repairs. And so air conditioning, if that's what was in your lease. If your refrigerator doesn't work, that is an emergency that has to be repaired. And if there's infestations, and that's everything from bed bugs to bees. I heard of someone who had a beehive in their basement, and the landlord didn't want to come and fix it. And now it's an emergency repair if you have an infestation in your apartment. Yeah. If it's a repair that wasn't caused by the tenant, it would be the landlord that would pay in that case. If there is something that is willful or malicious or intentionally done by the tenant, then they have to pay off in that case. But again, I would encourage people to contact our hotline if there's special situations. But if it's something that isn't a willful act by the tenant, but it just happens like a beehive happens in your basement, the landlord needs to pay for that. Okay. Court fees, I'm not going to go through many of these other issues because I didn't work on them, but the last two on this page I did, which was if you have to file as a tenant in court, especially on emergency issues, you no longer have to pay $300 just to get into court, but instead it's a $75 fee, which is a lot more like small claims court. And then also we have people who have to move from their rental unit to a place where they have more assisted living that is a situation. And if they have to break their lease because they have to move into a place like assisted living or a more accessible unit, they can provide a 2-month notice and then break the terms of their lease. This is only for those that have been told by a doctor that they have those sorts of situations. The eviction process has been slowed down. If you live in public housing, you have now have the right to right to counsel in breach of lease cases. And then the last one that I know anything really significant about is the pet declawing and pet devocalization. If a landlord says that you can have pets in your unit, they can't ask that you have your pet declawed or devocalized. So that's my general run of the laws that have changed, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that people have about additional items or about Homeline in general. Sure. So nothing happens without stories from tenants. And we have a number of people who've contacted us with issues that they want to have passed. I will say that we have actually been proposing some of these things for 5, 10, even 15 years, and they didn't become law until just last year. I hope that things don't take that long for the next go round. As far as things that we're going to be working on in the following session, I should have brought it up with me. Let me see. Can I take just a second here? I want to give a list of things that we're going to be proposing. And actually, if I can see if there's another question, I'm going to bring my laptop. Oh, actually, go to policy up along the top, and this is the 2023 legislative session. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, and it's going to come to me really quickly. I'm sorry. Yep. Okay. Give me just a quick second.
And I would like to, is this on? If there's anyone in Zoom land, this is a good time to ask a question. If anyone has a question about Homeline, renters, things. So any questions out there?
Okay, so the reason I didn't want to answer quickly is that we actually took a look at all of Minnesota's tenant landlord law, and tenant landlord law has only seen significant increase in action in 2011 and in 2023. Much of tenant landlord law actually comes from back before we were a state. And so we took a look at everything in this section that's called 504B. You don't need to remember the number, but basically it was tenant landlord law. And one of our attorneys said, well, about 10% of it is okay, which meant that about 90% of it needed some updating. The first thing that we said that we saw that needed updating is that many tenants who go say that their landlord has broken a part of the their contract with you, there wasn't actually anything that said that they had to any penalty whatsoever if for violating the lease. So if you wanted to take your landlord to court, there was no penalty that they would receive. And there was also no way for you to get too much remediation for handling the situation you were in. So we made sure that all breaches of lease that happened by the landlord, there's now a penalty that ranges from $250 to $1,000, depending on the severity of the issue. The other thing that we did is we wanted to make definitions, issues that we wanted to define some terms because they were really antiquated. I'm not going to go really deep into those right now. But I do want to go through some of the items that make the law more equitable. One is that the internet exists. And before, you only could communicate with your landlord in doing face-to-face communication or through the U.S. Postal Service. Well, what if you texted your landlord and that's how you communicate with them? Or you sent an email? Well, email is now a way that if you communicate with your landlord via email, that's one of the laws that we want to say needs to go into effect that allows you to do electronic communication with your landlord. We want to put a cap on security deposits. Right now, someone may be able to afford all of the monthly costs that they have for rent, but they can't actually afford to get into the apartment because the security deposit is too high. And so we would cap that at 1 month's rent. The other thing we would do is that let's see. Oh, late fees. Right now, late fees are at 8%, which is among the highest in the nation. If you paid your rent late, now late fees are going to, if we get them passed into law this next session, they'd be set at 4%. And then the last thing that I want to point out is that if the proposals that we have that there's pre-lease deposits that says that, and that's to hold a place for you, but you don't have money for a pre-lease deposit, that would be erased as a requirement. And then application fees, we would actually ask that those no longer be charged of renters, but it become part of the cost of doing business. There's a lot more because there's a lot to the tenant landlord law, but those are some of the, I got to say one other one, duty to mitigate. And I say that one just because I like to say the word duty. And anyway, that one bombed. Duty to mitigate is when you actually want to move and your rent, you still have to pay rent for the rest of your lease. And that's your obligation because you signed the lease. But if you have to break your lease and you have several months left on your in that lease, your landlord at least has to try to do something to fill the unit. It doesn't have to be the first apartment that they rent out, but they should advertise that an apartment is for rent so that someone could try to take that burden off of you in the future. Again, like I said, there's lots more, and if there's specific questions, I can see if there's any there, but there's a lot of things we're advocating for in this next year. So, yep. Okay, great. Thank you much.
Thank you to Michael. We have Nasser Musa. He's going to be presenting from Zoomland. He was like, I don't know, maybe it's too cold because it's cold out there. And I wanted to thank you all for coming out here tonight. And to Zoomland, you are missing out on sambusas. The smell in here is incredible. And next time you should come because you never know. All right. Yeah, if you have not gotten a sambusa, please go get one. And then if you'd like to really show it off, you can come by and show the camera to Zoomland. You know, you can show your sambusa to Zoomland and then they'll be jealous. But Nasser. Is Nasser? Okay. Hi, Nasser.
Hi.
Hey. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, can you present?
Yes. Thomas, can you pull up my presentation, or I can share my screen as well if that
do you want to have, yeah, can you share your screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if someone could allow me to share it, I could do that.
Yes. Yes, we're gonna do that right now.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me.
Does it?
1 second. Hold on. Do you see what I'm sharing there?
Yeah, we can see it now.
All right, sound is good. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Some of you have seen Metro F line before, and again, first before I get to the presentation, my name is Nasser, and I am the outreach coordinator for the Metro F line and the Metro G line. Metro F line is the most relevant for tonight, and because that is very specific to this geographic area, specifically Central Avenue. And then the Metro G line is more of the simple. I'm not going to talk about that because I have been talking about that for the last few months so many times. Some of you have seen Metro F line or maybe heard or may receive the postcard or have heard some information about the Metro F line. So this is basically the bus rapid transit that is currently planned to replace Route 10 on Central Avenue. And that is from downtown Minneapolis to Northtown Transit Center, which is about 13 miles. And this will run on Central Avenue and then take a left on 53rd and then take a right on University Avenue and then go to the Northtown Transit Center. But the starting point is in downtown Nicollet Mall. I'll talk about that a little bit. Yes.
Hey, just if you could just hold on a second. Well, we're gonna make this bigger so people here can see it a little better.
Oh, okay.
So just a second, because it's right now a little bit hard to see for.
Okay.
Is there any way that it can like be the whole? No. Hey, that's better. Okay. Thank you so much. It's a lot easier to see now, I hope. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So yeah, so this is basically the bus rapid transit that is planned to replace Route 10 on Central Avenue. And so one of the biggest change that will come to the Central Avenue is I know some of you already heard the MnDOT project that they're working on the last few years to improve the Highway 65. They call it Highway 65, but we call it Central Avenue. So this is one of the package that we are coordinating with MnDOT project. These two projects are overlap and cover the same geographic area, but the most important about the Metro F line is the reliability of the speed and also improving the service as well, because this provides all day long services and long letter in the evening as well. And this we plan to build 32 stations within this corridor, and these stations are enhanced with very high quality infrastructure, which I will talk in a second. So one of the good thing about the bus rapid transit, I'm sure some of you may have used it or not. So it comes with very high quality infrastructure, such as like the station is enhanced with security camera, emergency communications, and also enhanced with a heated shelter as well. And also it includes the prepaid or the fare collection machine, and also the live bus schedule as well. You can see the bus coming, how many minutes left. You don't have to just stand there and wonder when the bus is coming. So this is one of the most upgrade to the current system that is currently operating on Central Avenue, because there's a lot of delay, there's a lot of inefficiency, and not really very reliable in many ways. Bus route 10 currently. And then the other thing is also we try to space a little bit between stations. We try to have 2 to 3 stations per mile. Basically what this does is that it speed up the process, because right now if you take route 10, it stops at every block, and that really delays the process, and it does not allow the bus to move as quickly as reliably for a lot of people. But with this one, so the stations will be built between 2 to 3 stations per mile. So that will improve the speed and reliability as well. And then, so the other thing that also will improve speed and reliability is the bus priority signal, and also the bus lane as well. We're working closely with MnDOT to explore that possibility as well. And then the other also, the bus itself, the way the bus is also designed, also improves the the efficiency in the movement of the time that the bus is spent at the station, because the bus is opens all door, and the people can board through all door as they expect to be pay before the bus comes. When the bus comes, the bus just stops for like maybe, I would say at max maybe like a 30 to like a 40 second, and then, or at least under a minute, I would say, depending on the situation. So the bus comes, opens the all door, passengers board, and then the bus keeps moving. So that is one of the way that also makes it a little bit more efficient and move it very quickly. And then the other thing is also the bus itself is very accessible for the customers who are on wheelchair, because the bus level is with the station curb, and it just as a person on wheelchair, when the bus comes and open the door, the person on wheelchair just easily moves in. It does not require to lower the bus and use the ramp to just board a person on wheelchair. So this is quite very easy to navigate. The station is designed in a way that it is very easy as well. So this is what the station layout looks like. So the station includes, as I already mentioned, heated shelter, security camera, emergency communications, bench, bike rack, pylon, a lot of layout infrastructure that is something that is very similar to what you see at the light rail station, but in a smaller, not large as the light rail, but it is in a smaller, very high quality infrastructure. So the corridor planning has been ongoing. So as you can see, we went through multiple public engagement in the past between 2022 and 2023. We released the draft corridor plan in October 2022, and that was for 6 weeks, and we collected a lot of public feedback. We engaged people and sent out a lot of information, and also had multiple tabling events across the corridor, and also attended a number of events similar to organized by neighborhood, such as like exactly the same as what we're doing right now. And also we released the recommended corridor plan. Basically what recommended corridor plan does is that we take what we heard about the public feedback that we heard during the draft corridor plan, incorporate that into the recommended corridor plan, release that, and then present back to the public and say, hey, this is what we heard, and this is what we incorporated, and here's what we're looking for again for your feedback. And we collect that, and then finally council approved the final corridor plan in August 2023. So this is how we engage the public. We went through 2 rounds of public engagement, sent out about 13,000 email, and sent out close to 13,000 mails to multiple businesses, homes along the corridor, closer to, I think it is a 1/4 mile that we go by. And then I also knocked a lot of properties along the corridor, specifically zooming on station neighbors. So just engaging businesses and letting them know what the station would look like and what we're looking for, and kind of really more of like one-on-one engagement. So I've done that a lot with multiple businesses that are close to the station neighborhood. And we also posted the bus information or the information at the bus stops. So that's like a 99 bus stops that are specifically targeted because of the high ridership. And then we also work with multiple partner agencies, asking them to promote the information and post on social media or other ways that they could engage. And also we also tabled in a lot of locations that are very specific to communities such as library, grocery stores, and engage the public in that way. And we also translated the document. The document was translated in multiple languages, including some Spanish, Somali, Hmong, Oromo, and Arabic, because large percentage of people in this corridor speak really a lot of language. This is very, very diverse community that speak multiple languages. So, and then, so right now, I'm going to talk about where we are now. So right now, after the final corridor plan was approved in August of last year. So that moved the project to the engineering phase. So during the engineering phase, a lot of activities that happen are very, minimal to the public. It's not really very involved, a lot of visible, or we don't collect public feedback during the engineering phase, but just generally the engineers go out, and obviously some of you may have seen them go out and collect the information about the existing space, and also look at the utilities that are underground, just to make sure that we understand the structure and also avoid foreseeable problems that might happen before the construction, and understand the layout of the space. And then we also conducted geotechnical work. So geotechnical work is basically where they take the soil of the sample of the soil from the specific the station locations. And then the land survey was also conducted. And so what is happening right now, we continue coordinating with MnDOT, and these are two projects that are overlap, and we want to make sure that our communication, public engagement, and also planning work closely together. So MnDOT is leading a lot of public involvement because their project is really way larger than Metro F line, and it involves reconstructing or really looking at Highway 65 from the safety and pedestrian accessibility perspective. So that is closely how we work together with them. And then also we continue engaging communities along the corridor and explaining how this project works, and also answering public questions as well. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about Nicollet Mall. So Nicollet Mall, the city of Minneapolis is planning to move the bus from Nicollet Mall, because they are planning to make Nicollet Mall pedestrian only plaza without transit services on Nicollet Mall. This is the city is exploring this angle of the Nicollet Mall. Currently, Metro Transit has a lot of bus lines running on Nicollet Mall, including Metro F line, which we planned to run on Nicollet Mall, but we are obviously working with the city and exploring alternative option, 30th Avenue, Market, Hennepin Avenue. So these are we don't have a lot of detail at this point, but we just making sure that if the buses, the city actually decide, or if, this become real, so that we just want to make sure that we work with the city and explore alternative route and make sure that those alternative routes are more accessible and very possible, similar to or better than Nicollet Mall. That is what I have for tonight. And if you have any question, I will be happy to answer. If I will not be able to answer your question, or if it is more technical, I will take that and coordinate with the more project team and get back to you if that is okay.
Oh, we have a question.
Go ahead. I don't think I hear anything.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
The question I had is, if I understand it correctly, you're gonna have these bus stations like 3 per mile rather than the way it is today. And with these new stations, are you going to affect parking? Because there's currently a lot of parking that happens on Central Avenue. And we're gonna affect parking in any way.
We are that's a really good question. I know some of the parts of Central Avenue, obviously is business district and a lot of people rely on the parking. We are closely working with MnDOT to explore and also study the parking impact. So that is obviously underway. We will be able to elaborate more on what the results show, the parking study results show, once that study is available. Because right now that is ongoing at this point. But to just be specific, you know, a location where we will be building the station, that possibility of the parking elimination, yes, that's possibility.
We lost you.
Could you say that last part again because we missed it somehow?
Oh yes, so I'm saying the specific location is where we will be building the station. If currently the parking people use for the parking or businesses use for the parking, that is possibility that 2 to 3 parking spots may be eliminated. So that is, yes, that's possible at the station locations.
I know the initial design had a bus lane all the way down Central Avenue, and I mean, I've been on Central Avenue to pick up food, and it's a real parking issue. And I just want to make sure that that bus lane is no longer part of this current design, as I understand it. Is that correct?
So the we are closely working with MnDOT because they obviously at this point we don't really know what MnDOT will be recommending as a final layout for Central Avenue, but we're closely working with them on that.
Okay, thank you.
But it did look like it didn't go down the entire corridor from what I saw.
It does not. It does not. Some segment is included, but some segments are not. So we're closely working with MnDOT and see what the final outcome that they will be recommending will look like.
And I was curious if there are going to be any heated stops.
You mean the just regular heated stop that is not part of the F line station, or?
Yeah, because it's chilly out there and it would be nice if there were some heated stops. You have a question back there?
You know, as far as I know, all the Metro F line stations will come with a heated shelter. But currently,
New buses gonna be running as long during the day or night as they've been?
what was that question again?
Like are the buses gonna be running as long, like 6 to 12 or something like that?
Yes, that is correct.
And,
Yep.
and will
Yes.
be do you have to go online to get the schedule, or will there be
No.
one available?
No, you as long as you can get to the station, the station actually shows the next bus that is coming. And the bus, the best thing about this bus, I think this will balance out a little bit more better because as I said that we're trying to have the 2 to 3 stations per mile. So the bus comes every 10 minutes. So you don't have to wait a lot. If you miss one bus, the other one will come in the next 10 minutes. So and the shelter is more convenient and more equipped with heated system. So that's very convenient.
Is it gonna
Yeah.
still be a rapid, like the rapid 10? Is it
Uh,
gonna
uh,
be a rapid bus?
It will be rapid bus. There will be no the bus number 10 will not be running concurrently with Metro F line. One is Metro F line is start serving this corridor. So one thing that is a little bit different here is the 10N, which will continue running on Central Avenue north of Columbia Heights Transit Center, which is located at 40th in Central Avenue. So that will run on all the Central Avenue because this one will continue following 53rd and the University Avenue. So,
Gonna be
but
less
if you
buses
go ahead.
with just a big rapid one?
Yep. Yes. This is big rapid
Added
bus
on?
rapid one. Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
more? Oh,
Because you said it was three bus stops every mile.
3 stations. Yep. Two to 3 stations per mile. That's correct.
And so how long would it, you guys are trying, just a second. I was following with her. So it's going to be, you're trying to do a bus every 10 minutes.
That
what
is
you said?
correct.
Okay. We have another question.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I want to know how many feet there is between the bus stops. If there's one every 3 to a mile, how many feet between the bus stops?
Oh boy, I don't have exact
All
feet.
right, I'll tell you, you took out a bus stop at 23rd and Central. So I have to get off the bus at 22nd to go to the bank in the 2300 block. And it's a 130 extra steps each way for me to do that. Plus, if I go back to 22nd to get the bus to come back home, I can see this building on the horizon. But that bus stop is closed between 3 and 4 in the afternoon when school is in session because the library requested that. And I don't think that's very good because now we only have a bus stop, only one between Lowry and 18 and a half. And that's closed when school is in session between 3 and 4. So how many feet between the bus stops? If there are 3 to a mile, because I can't do the math here. 2,000 feet? 2,000 feet.
Somewhere around there.
That's like 3 city blocks between bus stops. From a mobility standpoint, I have to have my left knee replaced, my right knee replaced, and I'm 81 years old, and I can hardly stand up most of the time. So when they took out that bus stop up the street, it just about killed me. Now I get on the bus and I go all the way to 50th and go to the Speedway there because they have a Wells Fargo ATM in there 24/7, takes deposits. And also he's talking about the bus changing at 41st and Central. And the Aldi's grocery is at 50th. And they want us to go off the bus and stand there and wait for a different bus to go the rest of the way to Aldi's. I have nothing more to say, except I don't think any of them ride the bus.
Here, do you want to ask the question on a microphone or?
Mobility issues or comments, folks? Yes. Can you just comment on that?
Yeah. Comment on like the common problem of mobility in.
Well,
this
yes,
building.
because now it's very cold outside and they want us to stand at a bus stop for maybe 10 minutes, waiting to get a bus to go and get our groceries and then coming back and have to stand and wait for another bus to come the rest of the way home. And I just don't get it, folks. I don't get it. And everywhere they took out the bus stops, the night that they opened up the bridge, Biden was in town and they closed the bus stop at University and Central. So I walked up to 4th and discovered the bus stop was gone. I had to continue walking another block because when they took the bus stops out, they already put parking places in there with meters.
I guess, Nasser, there's a lot of people with some mobility issues that live in this building. And I don't know if
Yes.
you've made a concerted effort to maybe come out here and evaluate, that would be helpful.
I was there actually. I had one of I can talk a little bit about. Let me give you 1 second. Here
Yeah, he's gonna go over.
yeah. So one of the changes that we made between draft corridor plan and recommended corridor plan. Can you see where I am moving my cursor right there? So initially we recommended to have the bus station, the station right here. And I had a meeting with the management, the planner and I had a really lengthy discussion with the property management here.
Okay, could you move your cursor over where exactly
Yep,
you're talking about?
right here, right by
Okay.
the food shelf.
Right here.
Yep, right by the food shelf. After the traffic light, right after the 18th and the Central intersection, just north of 18th and the Central, right at the intersection. But we had a really lengthy conversation and we evaluated. We walked around the property. We walked from the north, south, and then also on the west side right here along this street as well. And then also had a conversation with, I think I attended one of the high-rise board meeting, and I presented in, folks were not, very happy that we were having the station at this intersection because it was not accessible, and we really had to do much more work. And folks who live here recommended us to leave the station exactly where the bus stop is right now, 18th and a half, and we moved from this end of the corner to actually keep it right there in the building station at that 18 and a half. So that's one of the changes that, based on the feedback that we received from the folks who live here, and also the conversation that we had with the management as well. And definitely we will continue having this conversation with the folks. I'll be happy to attend again another any meeting opportunities, or whether it is the High Rise Association or Neighborhood Association. I'll be happy to come back and continue that conversation.
Yeah, I think we're planning to have neighborhood meetings if they'll let us stay here. We're planning to have neighborhood meetings here for a while. It's a great space, great residents with a great point of view. And it would be good if, I don't know if this is really a part of it, but if you took into account, the grocery stores, where those stops are, because the accessibility from here is great. But if you have to, when you get somewhere, you have to then walk, to another bus stop or to a few streets down, then, well, the bus stop that's right here doesn't really mean too much. So, and the impacts of where the grocery stores are and the ATMs and all of those things, it would be,
right,
I think, helpful to consider those in the grand scheme of things. It's like a holistic approach, I guess.
Right. Definitely. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we have a follow-up.
Okay.
Yes. When they took the bus stop out at 23rd and Central, I don't know if they took into thought that there's a clinic right at that corner there. And if somebody had to go to the doctor and they can't walk, it's going to be difficult when it's 30 below sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, just the more holistic approach to everything, the services along the route and how that impacts everybody that lives along the route.
Right.
Go ahead. If you had anything else. Anybody in Zoom land? Any questions? Anybody from Zoom have any questions about the F-line plans and where we're at? Oh, we have another question back. Just a second. We're getting the microphone back there so you can hear. Is it on mute?
Are you gonna be a 24-hour bus? I forgot.
Did you hear that?
Unfortunately, it is not 24-hour. There is a time lapse between after 1 p.m. So there is a downtime between
one a.m. or 1 p.m.?
Yep, I'm sorry, 1 a.m. My
Like,
apologies. Between
oh,
1 a.m. and
Uh-huh.
early in the morning, around like I believe 5 a.m. I can definitely check the time, but it's not 24 hours. So there is a very short window of time that is not in service.
So there are no buses from 1 a.m. to 5.
Yes, I could
Approximately.
say, yep.
We're gonna have
Mm.
to go finding on, getting more info.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't see any other questions. Anybody else have questions? No? Okay. No more questions. I don't see any questions on Zoom. So Nasser, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to this continued conversation because it will continue, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate. Yeah, this is not the last time that you see me. I'll be here. I am committed to coming back to this meeting and continue having this conversation. Thank you again.
And can we, if you guys have any questions or comments, you can always contact Nasser. We'll have that information readily available if you guys would like to contact. And there's nasser.musa@metrotransit.org. That's one way. He's very accessible. So please reach out. Thank you, Nasser.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right. So I guess this leads, if you have general comments, general questions, this is an open forum. You guys, it's your time to ask questions or have deep thoughts or anything. Anyone have questions, deep thoughts? Shallow thoughts are welcome too. It's fine. Probably preferred. Just kidding. Okay.
Hello? Sorry. I see. Thank you. Hi, my name's Will Hollerick. I've worked in Northeast for 6.5 years. And after reading in the Northeaster community newspaper in December that 1851 Central Avenue Northeast might be leased to Starbucks, I emailed Council President Elliot Payne in late December and your board the next week to ask how residents might best voice their concern over this. And while I was awaiting your replies, I shared the news with 7 locally owned coffee shops in a mile radius, a 20-minute walk for the able-bodied of that Wyndham Park property, some of whom did not know and were quite alarmed. So this neighborhood meeting seemed like the best place to provide public input on a major retail coffee chain moving in. For myself, I'm proud to work in our part of Northeast, a community known for unique bars, churches, and small businesses. But if Starbucks comes here, I fear other national chains would follow, creating a chain retail food service cluster that wouldn't only endanger local coffee shops, but also eventually threaten restaurants like Maya and groceries like East Side Food Co-op or Holy Land. Who wants to see this area go the way of Dinkytown, where chains drove many local businesses into the ground and made generic and flavorless a place that was once so distinct? So my emails to you referred to the Snelling and Marshall Starbucks drive-through in St. Paul, where 4 years of re-engineering could not fix its customers' cars backing into and blocking traffic. Whereupon finally an off-duty city police officer was paid to direct traffic there for 3 hours a day for a year before its drive-through was finally closed in 2022. So for University of Minnesota Urban Studies professor Bill Lindeke, if you read his article about this in MinPost Online, it exemplified how hard it is to remove a drive-through even when one that's widely acknowledged as a problem from the start. Fortunately, Minneapolis banned new drive-through lanes in 2019. There's always the chance this property could get grandfathered in because it was built as a drive-in restaurant. But lastly, before I let other some cafe owners speak, I wanted to thank the property owners, Truco, for being willing to wait some to find a new tenant. I hope that new tenant will be another local small business. Thank you.
I don't really know what I have to add to what Will said. He's very well spoken, but my name is Lucy Bacon. I own Diamond's Coffee Shop right over there. And my concern is that there are already 5 coffee shops within a 5-block area. They're all independent. They're all different. They're all cute. And yeah, if we bring Starbucks here, ick. I don't know how else to say it. And I agree. I think it's kind of the beginning of a gentrification. We're going to end up with an Applebee's and a TGI Fridays and Whole Foods, whatever. And I just don't think that's what Central Avenue is about. It's like Thomas was saying, a real cultural area. There's nothing except a Subway along here that isn't an independent business, an owner operated kind of thing. Well, Walgreens and the banks. But really beyond that, it's all local owned. And I think we need to keep it that way. So that's my 2 cents.
Hey, it's Corey on Zoom, if I can chime in as well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, my name is Corey Bracken. I'm the owner of Pillar Forum. We're on 23rd and Central. We've been open for, it'll be 2 years in March of this year. And I've come to love Central Avenue in Northeast. I live in South Minneapolis. And I've seen firsthand what happens when some of these big chains move in. I mean, all you need to do is look at Hennepin and Lake Street, what happened after Apple Store moved in and the downfall of that. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons. It'd be one thing if there wasn't many coffee options in Northeast Minneapolis, but as Will and Lucy both mentioned, there's a lot of options. The only reason for a big chain restaurant to come in there is to take all of that business and bring it through their doors. The uniqueness of what we have on Central Avenue is something that the rest of the city, I think, can be proud of and look to what we're doing and try to replicate that, to offer opportunities for people of color, for minorities, but also, other small business that are trying to get their start. And it makes for a very diverse atmosphere with a lot of different options that you can't find anywhere else in the city. And the second you start, Starbucks comes in, then what comes in next after that? I had the pleasure of talking with the folks at Half Fancy as they were getting their stuff ready for sale and auction. And, they were pretty sad that they weren't able to continue their business there. And obviously they're going to look for something else. But, I'm sure as a building owner, when you see the dollar signs of a big national chain moving in and signing a multi-year lease, that's very, very attractive. But with that property, there could be an opportunity for another small business trying to get their start in a unique neighborhood. And, obviously, selfishly, being a coffee shop owner, to have something else come in that mimics my business model, just a few blocks away, that looks and puts my business at risk. And, I know I've put a lot of time and energy and my own money into trying to build something. And, it's very concerning to see, the potential of that happening as well. So I just want to thank Will for getting this out there and hoping that other small business owners in the area also look to see, this has been done before. You don't have to look to too many other neighborhoods to see what happens when one of these big businesses try to come in there. So thank you, Will, and thank you, Lucy, for also joining. And I'm definitely going to follow up on this and hope to do anything that I can as a small business owner in Central Avenue and Northeast Minneapolis to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, you guys. Thank you, for everyone speaking out, because I think pretty much in the room, most of us are going to agree that we don't really want a Starbucks on that corner. It would be a nightmare. It's already difficult right there with people parking to get dinner, shopping. There's always people on that corner, double, triple parked. I don't even know. It's wild. But if there were a Starbucks there, oof, like I can't even imagine. So I just don't, one of the things is like, Will, I'd like to talk with you after this because I've tried to get in touch with that property owner. I tried every phone number. I tried everything. I tried the Sun. I tried and I couldn't find a good number. So if you have that contact, I would love to get that from you and talk to you about it. But yeah, I don't know that there's a lot we can do to stop it. That's the problem, because it's a private business owner who has a lot, with property. I don't know. I mean, we can definitely put pressure as a unit together. So I'm really glad that you guys all came and you're speaking out about it. We just got to keep trying. Yeah. You guys have something, say it.
I think the largest thing that could potentially stop Starbucks from moving in is ensuring that it's not grandfathered in as a drive-through accessible business.
That's also something I don't think we have. It either has that in its title as something that has a drive-through, or it doesn't, and we can't take it away. It is what it is. And we just need to, I guess we just need to see if the property has that on it. I have not seen whether it does or doesn't. Gonna guess it does, because it has that window and it has that little thoroughfare on the back side. But let's see what it is. And it would really be awful for the flow of traffic if it were to become that. So let's hope it doesn't, but let's keep the pressure on, and the more people who have a voice about it, probably the better people can see that, hey, the neighborhood doesn't want it, don't do it. It'll be bad. So yeah, go ahead.
Get right in there. Okay. I have been a barista at local Northeast coffee shops for the past about 4 years, and I've really, really enjoyed the community that I've met through that. And I think Starbucks coming in and kind of showing its ugly face wouldn't be fun. Additionally, there is a growing distaste with Starbucks, especially from young people. And I just don't think it would be a good look for this area. I moved here and opposed to Uptown because we had local businesses, and I'm afraid to see that go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And like we've seen some of the union practices. Yikes. So anyway. Yeah, if you guys sign up on the sign-in roster, and we can get you guys added to the list. I think this is a topic that will not be going anywhere anytime soon, at least until a different tenant is found there that is not Starbucks. We have a newsletter or a website. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please. Oh, we have another comment. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. Did I understand the first speaker, the gentleman, to say that the current owner of the property is willing to hold off renting immediately?
According to the December, yes, the exact quote was that Ms. Poolson,
Nora
told the Northeaster that Starbucks was a quote possibility, but nothing's chiseled in stone. The building might be vacant for a little, unquote.
The question was, can we approach this person as a community? And I think that that's what we're doing, right? That we're sort of having the discussion now to sort of,
it's a community group that person or organization that owns I wonder if they know how much the community feels about this already. Or remember, I must be missing something here. Mhm.
Trying to get a coalition together.
Right, that's,
To bring it to that person. Okay, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine, that's good. No, you're good. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're definitely marshaling our resources. Yeah, and I hope we land without a Starbucks. That's where I hope we land. But we'll see. Because they can kind of do what they want and they can say they're gonna wait, but they don't have to. I don't know. Anybody else have any comments or questions? We have another meeting. It'll be here in, what is it? If we can have anybody online have anything to say, Dan? You look like you're itching to say something. No? Okay. All right. We have another meeting here in 2 months, roughly, because we're doing them every other month. As you can see, Tuesday, March 19th, hopefully here. And hey, maybe we'll have some answers about Starbucks. That would be fantastic. There's a board meeting next week. Hey, if you want to join the board, you'll have a voice where you can have more pull about the Starbucks thing. Why not? Join the board. We need people. We need people who want to get active and participate. So with that, Robert, I want to say again, thank you. You've been amazing. You've done amazing. Seriously, really. Thomas, thank you. Thank you to Thomas for all the hard work of setting all this stuff up. It is not easy. Let me tell you, I helped break it down last week and that was tough. Zoomland, join us next time. It'll be March. Things will be starting to get warmer, maybe some flowers. And to all the other board members, thank you. Well, look, I can be hopeful. Maybe a little hopeful, but thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. We love hearing from you. So the website is always at your disposal to send us a message. We love hearing from you. So thank you for coming out. Hope you guys are safe, warm. Have a lovely evening.